But obviously, as a lot of you guys will probably know, I'm a massive Richmond Tigers fan. And one thing that's kind of been up in the air recently is a player who you wouldn't have thought Richmond would have really cared about, bringing back a whole lot 3 months ago in Tyler Young, has actually turned into a situation where Tyler Young, over his 7 games he played the year coming back from the ACL injury, turned into like freaking prime Alex Rance down there on the back line, and has been getting a ton of interest from a bunch of different teams. Of course, a lot of these teams being Richmond, as we know. North Melbourne were extremely interested. The West Coast Eagles are extremely interested. And the Western Bulldogs, I think he reportedly met with as well. But obviously, Richmond fans probably didn't think they'd be talking about this guy much 3 months ago. But then, just a week ago, you got Tigers fans begging for this bloke to stay over Facebook messages. And unfortunately for them and myself, Tyler Young has requested a trade to the West Coast Eagles. Now, yes, Tyler Young had an insane 7 games. In fact, if I remember right, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's correct, I think it was by champion data, in the last 7 games that Tyler Young played, the 7 games for the year, if you look at just those games, I'm pretty sure Tyler Young was ranked like the 7th or 8th best key defender in the whole entire league. Like, this dude was playing insane footy, looked really, really good out there, and honestly helped Richmond do some, pretty cool stuff, and inevitably stopped them from being kind of cooked by a bunch of different teams out there. So Tyler Young was a guy that the Tigers would have liked to keep. The only issue is with all of that is that Richmond have only picked 2 and 3 in this year's AFL draft, but have a academy player in Louis Callaway supposed to be going picks 30 to 50 in this year's draft. Meaning that the Tigers are going to have to, try and find some other picks elsewhere along the line to maybe match him and actually fill out their roster that they currently have right now, because they delisted 5 guys at the time of making this video. So they got to actually, fill out these roster spots. But basically, the Tigers now have a situation where they're going to lose Tyler Young, which one positive here is that they're now going to get picks to fill out the team and replace those delisted players, but also go ahead and match Louis Callaway. The other positive we can look at maybe for Richmond here is that even though they're losing Tyler Young, the reality is that if you're going to lose a position anywhere on the ground for Richmond, it's probably not too bad that they lost it to the positions where Richmond have an insane amount of depth, which is the key defenders. I would argue Richmond probably have the best key defensive squad nearly in the competition. That was probably a bit over the top. It's definitely not near the best. It's probably top 8. I think I was being a little bit dramatic there. Don't quote me on that one. Let me rephrase that. Richmond have a top 8 level key defender ranks in the game. They have some really good guys down there. Obviously, Ben Miller being one of them. I think he will become one of the biggest free agents next year that everyone is going to be looking at. I do expect the Tigers will really re-sign him early, and he's going to get a hell of a lot of money to make that happen. The other thing is, they've got him. You got Nick Floston as like a 3rd, 4th guy down there. Nathan Broad's down there. Tyler Young was down there. Josh Gibcus is still down there as well. Noah Bolter, when he's not punching dudes up and shit and playing some good footy, he's usually down there. Richmond just have so much depth there. Campbell Gray in the VFL. They also had Jacob Blight in the VFL. There was so much going on where, honestly, all of these guys weren't going to play together next year. You already saw it towards the end of the year where they had to push Noah Bolter up forward. Campbell Gray and Jacob Blight couldn't get games. Josh Gibcus came back and he couldn't get a game until the last one where he was only able to play half a game. Reality is that next year now, they've moved on Jacob Blight. They're going to be losing Tyler Young now. Noah Bolter's probably going to go back to playing key defense, and I think they should be pretty settled with that depth of overall key defenders. So those are some positives on, Tyler Young leaving. But then there are, of course, a lot of negatives. I mean, one could argue Tyler Young is one of the better lockdown defenders in the game right now, and his last 7 games and the champion data prove that. you could also argue that, yes, Richmond have good depth there, but Tyler Young is better than Campbell Gray, he's better than Jacob Blight, he's better than Josh Gibcus, he was at the moment better than Nathan Broad, he definitely at the moment was better than Noah Bolter. The only guy he fell behind, if we're not counting Nick Flosson, obviously, as a key defender, because he's not, he's just another guy who can realistically play tall. He was just behind Ben Miller there. So that is a really big L. And you're losing a very quality and elite defender. But on the other side, West Coast are gaining a really quality and elite defender to come in and help this backline, which has been absolutely torn now for a couple years. So now, West Coast, they've kind of changing some things. They brought in Harry Edwards, he's playing a lot more, and I think he'll have a comfortable and reliable list spot most likely next year. They're going to bring Tyler Young as probably the guy who's going to defend the second option for now. Maybe start off in the first option while Harry Edwards keeps going on and learning and whatnot. And then they're going to be bringing in Brendan Starcevic through free agency. So they're going to be completely changing things. Those are some massive additions. And maybe if they draft even a Willem Dersman, he plays some halfback as well. That could be crazy that next year's backline could have 4 new additions to it straight away. Harry Edwards as a consistent gig, Tyler Young down there, Brendan Starcevic down there, and maybe even a Willem Dersma. Willem Dersman's played a lot of halfback. He's also been a notable kick-out player as well. I mean, I think he'll probably start off there. I don't think he'll start off in the midfield. So that is crazy that could be the new additions, realistically, to the West Coast Eagles backline. I think that's actually quite insane. Now, look, what are West Coast going to have to give up to make this happen? I don't really think much at all. I mean, Tyler Young is a really, really good player, right? But the thing is with Tyler Young, he's only played 7 games and he is still coming off an ACL injury. So we haven't seen the full power. We haven't seen him play a full year yet. So I don't think you're going to get a whole lot if you're Richmond, but they're definitely not going to let him go for cheap. Now, at the time making this video, the Eagles currently do have some really good picks. They've got 1, 15, 19, 20, and 34, and that's going to obviously eventually turn into picks 1, to 15 will change to 16, 9 will change to 20, etc. So I think the Tigers will ask for 15. The Eagles will decline that, and they will probably just settle on pick number 19. Now, some of you guys might even be saying, look, pick 19 might be a little bit too much, but it really isn't in this year's draft, especially because by the time pick 19 comes around, with all the academy picks and with all of the father-sons and, of course, other priority picks, which we're going to be seeing, like Essendon for Sam Draper and whatnot, what's going to end up happening is that pick 19, I think, is guaranteed to become like pick 30. And I think Richmond will even ask for a little bit more here because I do think Tyler Young is a bit better than pick 30. I mean, you could straight swap 30 for Tyler Young, maybe, but in this year's draft as well, which doesn't have a lot of depth and is a very weak draft, I think the Tigers will also ask for that pick 52, which again will probably become like pick 70, or pick even 65. It'll be just one of the later picks in the draft. I think the Tigers will ask for that. They'll ask for those 2 picks. So pick 19, which will probably become pick 30, and pick 52, which will end up becoming 65 because teams will pass and whatnot. But Richmond, may use that to, of course, match the Louis Callaway and even another pick here and there. I don't know how it's going to work. But I don't think Richmond are going to be too greedy. I mean, they'll ask for 15. West Coast will probably say no. 19, I think, gets it done, and which will end up becoming like pick 30. And I think that's pretty fair. But yeah, I mean, this is a really solid one. If you're giving up basically pick 30 for a guy who's ranked as the 7th best defender, I mean, holy shit, you're doing so well if you're West Coast. Andrew McQualter has coached Tyler Young before. He knows he's a gun. The only issue I may have is it's going to be interesting to see how Tyler Young's going to go now without, Nick Flosson, Ben Miller, Jane Short, Nathan Broad, and all them to rely on, when now he's relying on a young Harry Edwards. He's going to be relying on a little bit with Willem Dersma and Brendan Starcevic to help him continue to be a good player. we'll have to see how that does go. It's definitely a much different backline shift than what Richmond had. But again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content and AFL news. Let me know what AFL trades you think will happen, and if you agree with everything I've said in this video and whatnot. Again, I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my gaming/movie channel, which will be linked down below, as well as my Instagram. Go and give that a follow if you haven't already. All of them will be linked down below. But yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.